I'm Barbara Johnson, a 62-year-old former elementary school teacher. Looking out the window of my cozy home in the suburbs of New York, I can see the autumn leaves glowing golden. It reminds me of the many seasons I've witnessed in this house. It's been 2 years since my husband Robert passed away. Although I'm financially comfortable, there's an emptiness in my heart that seems impossible to fill. As I sip my morning coffee, I think about my only son, Michael. At 35, he's become a successful lawyer, making us parents proud. I can't help but smile as I remember his college graduation day. The image of Michael walking proudly in his black gown is as vivid as if it were yesterday. Now, Michael has a happy family of his own. Jessica, whom he married 5 years ago, is a beautiful 30-year-old woman who works part-time as a model. At first, she seemed a bit difficult, but we gradually warmed up to each other. Still, I sometimes find myself perplexed by her flashy lifestyle and occasional cold attitude. 2 years after their marriage, Michael and Jessica had Tommy, my grandson. Now 10 years old, he's become the light of my life. Tommy is a curious and intelligent child who seems to genuinely enjoy spending time with me. Seeing his smile warms my heart and eases my loneliness a bit. Whenever Tommy comes to my house, he always begs me to read him old picture books. When he says, "Grandma, read Winnie the Pooh again," I simply can't refuse. Reading the story and watching Tommy's eyes light up is my greatest joy. However, lately, something's been bothering me. Jessica has been suddenly dropping Tommy off more frequently. She leaves saying she has urgent business, but never elaborates on what this business is. Michael seems too busy with work to notice what's happening at home. I have no complaints about taking care of Tommy. In fact, the time I spend with him gives my life meaning. But I can't help feeling a bit uneasy about Jessica's behavior. Where is she going? And why is she hiding it from Michael? Despite these concerns, I put on a cheerful face for Tommy's sake. Today is another day he's coming over. It's bound to be a fun day. With that thought, I start walking towards the front door. The doorbell rings, and when I open the door, Tommy's smiling face greets me. "Grandma," he shouts cheerfully, hugging me tightly. "Tommy, how have you been?" I ask gently. Jessica seems to be in a hurry, saying, "Thanks, Barbara. I'll pick him up in the evening," before quickly leaving. It's a familiar scene. Tommy and I head to the living room as usual. He immediately runs to the toy box and takes out the dinosaur figurines he's been obsessed with lately. "Grandma, this is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's the king of carnivorous dinosaurs," Tommy explains excitedly. I smile as I listen, but I'm also amazed by his extensive knowledge. "That's impressive, Tommy. You've studied a lot, haven't you?" We spent the morning playing with toys while I listened to Tommy's dinosaur stories. For lunch, I made Tommy's favorite grilled cheese sandwich. "Grandma, your sandwiches are the best in the world," Tommy says with his mouth full. After lunch, we decided to go out to the garden to get some exercise. In the soft autumn sunlight, Tommy runs around energetically. "Tommy, don't overdo it," I gently call out to him. After a while, Tommy comes back to me, looking a bit tired. "Grandma, let's take a little break." We sit on the bench, enjoying the garden view. Tommy leans on my shoulder, his expression peaceful. However, this peaceful moment was suddenly shattered in a tragic way. Tommy suddenly stiffened and started gasping for air. Tommy! What's wrong? I hurriedly support his body. The next moment, foam started coming out of Tommy's mouth, and his whole body began to convulse. I felt frozen with fear but tried to stay calm. Tommy! Hang in there! I shouted while quickly returning to the house to call 911. Please hurry, my grandson is having a seizure. I desperately pleaded. The few minutes until the ambulance arrived felt like an eternity. I held Tommy's body, calling his name repeatedly. When the paramedics arrived, they quickly put Tommy on a stretcher. Ma'am, can you come with us? One of the paramedics asked me. I quickly grabbed my handbag and got into the ambulance. Meanwhile, I called Michael to explain the situation. What? Tommy? I'm heading to the hospital right away, Michael answered, sounding shaken. Upon arriving at the hospital, Tommy was immediately taken to the emergency room. I waited in the waiting room, trembling with anxiety, for the doctor's diagnosis. After a while, Michael and Jessica rushed in. Mom, what exactly happened? Michael asked. I explained in detail what had occurred. Jessica listened silently, but I thought I saw a hint of suspicion in her eyes. Finally, the attending physician appeared and gave us the initial diagnosis. Tommy's symptoms suggest a high possibility of poisoning by some toxic substance. The detailed test results will take a bit more time, but... The moment we heard those words, the air in the room froze. Michael was stunned, and Jessica looked surprised. Poisoning? What do you mean? Michael asked, visibly shaken. The doctor carefully chose his words as he answered. We can't be certain yet, but we've detected substances in Tommy's body that shouldn't be there under normal circumstances. Until we get the detailed test results. I felt my mind go blank. How could this happen? Tommy was at my house. As I thought this, I felt Jessica's sharp gaze on me. Barbara, what did you do to Tommy? Jessica asked in a cold voice. I was at a loss for words and could only shake my head. Michael looked confused, glancing back and forth between Jessica and me. At that moment, I couldn't have imagined how this incident would drastically change our family's life. In the heavy atmosphere of the hospital waiting room, Jessica's cold gaze pierces me. Barbara, be honest. What did you do to Tommy? Jessica's voice contains clear hostility. Shaken but trying to maintain my composure, I respond, Jessica, I didn't do anything. I was just spending time with Tommy as usual. However, Jessica refuses to believe my words. As usual. Is there an usual way of spending time that results in poisoning? Michael tries to intervene, but Jessica's anger doesn't subside. Your mother hurt our son. How can you not see that? I can't believe my ears. Could Jessica really think I'm the cause of Tommy's poisoning? Jessica, calm down. We don't know the details yet, Michael says in an attempt to reason with her, but to no effect. Jessica confronts me. You thought Tommy was a nuisance, didn't you? Always being suddenly left with you, it was an inconvenience. I inwardly laugh bitterly at those words. I've never once thought of Tommy as a nuisance. On the contrary, the time spent with him was my reason for living. However, Jessica's fierce accusations start to plant seeds of doubt in my mind. Could I have unknowingly given Tommy something harmful? I desperately try to recall my actions. Jessica, Mom would never do such a thing. Michael tries to defend me, but Jessica won't listen. You always take your mother's side. Think about our family. At those words, Michael's expression clouds over. I feel the pain of our family's growing rift. A nurse comes to explain Tommy's condition. Your child is stable, but he hasn't regained consciousness yet. It will take a bit more time for the detailed test results to come back. Those words bring a moment of relief, but it's quickly overwhelmed by a sense of self-reproach. Why did this happen to Tommy? Did I overlook something? Michael places his hand on my shoulder. Mom, it's going to be okay. Tommy will get better. His kindness brings tears to my eyes. However, Jessica's cold gaze negates that warmth. Michael, let's go home. We'll come back tomorrow, Jessica says. Then, turning to me, she sternly says, you stay away from Tommy. Michael looks conflicted but ends up following Jessica. As they leave, he whispers, Mom, I'll call you later. Left alone in the hospital waiting room, I'm enveloped by a deep sense of loneliness. How did it come to this? Various thoughts swirl in my head. The next day, I received a call from Michael. Mom, Jessica reported this to the police. She still suspects you. I'm shocked by his words. The police. Michael, I really didn't do anything. I know, Mom. I believe you. But it's going to be hard to convince Jessica. Michael's words offer some comfort, but I acutely feel the division in our family. Later, I had to undergo police questioning. With trembling hands, I explained in detail what happened that day. The officer listened calmly, but I thought I saw a hint of doubt in his eyes, which increased my anxiety. When I returned home, I became conscious of the neighbors' glances. Has the rumor already spread? As I spend days cooped up at home, I can't stop thinking about Tommy. One day, Michael visited me alone. Mom, are you okay? I tell him about the current situation through tears. Michael listens silently. Mom, I've been thinking. Don't you think there's something strange about this situation? At those words, I look up. Michael's eyes showed that he had seen through something. Jessica's behavior, it's a bit unnatural. As if she's hiding something. Michael's words plant a new doubt in my mind. And suddenly, small incidents that I had never paid attention to before started to take on significant meaning. As Michael's words echoed in my head, we received a call from the hospital. They said the detailed test results for Tommy were out. We rushed to the hospital, where the attending physician guided us to the examination room. Jessica was there too, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. The test results show that the substance detected in Tommy's body was a toxin called amatoxin, the doctor began explaining carefully. This is a toxin found in a poisonous mushroom called the death cap. At those words, the room fell silent. Death cap? Michael asks in surprise. There's no way Tommy would eat something like that. The doctor continues, this toxin is extremely dangerous, causing severe symptoms even in small amounts. Fortunately, thanks to early detection and appropriate treatment, Tommy's life is not in danger, but it will still take time for a full recovery. My head is spinning. Death cap. There's no way I would have something like that in my house. Suddenly, Jessica raised her voice. Barbara, You fed Tommy mushrooms you picked from your garden, didn't you? No, I didn't. I desperately deny it. There are no such poisonous mushrooms in my garden. The doctor intervenes. Actually, judging from the amount of toxin detected, it's likely that it was ingested in its pure form. In other words, you mean someone intentionally gave it to Tommy? Michael asked with a trembling voice. The doctor nods slowly. We can't rule out that possibility. At these words, a heavy silence fell over the room. After leaving the hospital, Michael headed to Barbara's house. Mom, let's investigate together. We might have overlooked something. We started searching the house meticulously. The kitchen, the living room, and the room where Tommy often played. Mom, what's this? Michael pulled out a small bag from the back of a shelf. I gasped when I saw the bag. This isn't mine. There was white powder inside the bag. Michael carefully examined it and his face changed color. Mom, this might be amatoxin powder. But how did it get here? Suddenly, a realization struck me. Michael, I remember now. Last week, Jessica came here and was looking for something. Michael's expression changes. Mom, haven't you noticed anything strange about Jessica? Her behavior has been odd lately. We started reviewing Jessica's actions. The sudden drop-offs of Tommy, unnatural outings, and her abnormal hostility towards me. Michael, is there any way you can check Jessica's phone? I tentatively suggested. Michael hesitated but eventually agreed. He accessed Jessica's phone backup data, and there we made a shocking discovery. Jessica had been frequently messaging someone about planning to take Tommy's life. Oh my God. Michael is at a loss for words. We immediately contacted the police. After showing them the evidence and explaining the situation, the police quickly took action. A few hours later, we received word that Jessica had been arrested. She apparently confessed everything during the interrogation. Her motive was my inheritance. She had planned to kill Tommy and pin the blame on me, severing Michael's relationship with me and gaining the right to inherit my estate. Learning this truth, Michael and I were speechless. Why would she go to such lengths? When we returned to the hospital, Tommy had regained consciousness. Seeing his weak smile, we couldn't hold back our tears. Grandma, Dad. We heard Tommy's small voice. We sat by Tommy's bed, holding his hand tightly. The road ahead might be long, but we will overcome it together as a family. The truth came to light, and my innocence was proven. However, the scars left by this incident won't heal easily. Still, as we watch over Tommy's recovery, we have no choice but to move forward, little by little. After Jessica's arrest, our family faced a great trial. Michael was deeply hurt by his wife's betrayal and became quiet for a while. However, as he focused on Tommy's recovery, he gradually began to recover himself. In court, Jessica admitted to all her crimes. Her motives were more complex than we had imagined. Drowning in debt and unable to break free from her addiction to luxury brands, she had been looking for an easy way to get a large sum of money. And that's when she set her sights on my inheritance. In court, Jessica tearfully apologized. I'm truly sorry. I was blinded by greed and ended up hurting my precious family. Her words left us with mixed feelings. Jessica received a sentence of 15 years in prison. Michael decided to divorce and began walking a new path in life. Meanwhile, Tommy's recovery was surprisingly quick, and his strength encouraged us. After being discharged, Tommy came to live at my house. "Grandma, I'm so happy we can live together," Tommy said, and my heart filled with warmth. From this experience, we reaffirmed the importance of family bonds. At the same time, we learned the dangers of trusting people too easily. Now, we are starting a new life. Michael is devoted to his work while cherishing his time with Tommy. I feel that my mission is to protect this family. While we have anxieties about the future, we also have hope. If we could overcome this ordeal, surely we can overcome any difficulty. As I watch Tommy playing energetically in the garden, I think to myself, life is full of unexpected events. But if we walk together with our loved